Hi, and thank you for joining me for another edition of Rabbi Stein's PPE, our Parsha and Prayer Experience. This week's Parsha, Parshas Vayikra, connects to Pesach in many, many ways. And for this week's edition is going to be all about the connection between this week's Parsha and Pesach. And Mitzvah Shem, next week, Shabbos HaGadol, a little Shabbos HaGadol drasha on the PPE. So Parshas Vayikra really introduces us to a whole slew of the minutiae of the specifics of korbanot, the sacrifices. And we can actually see how, as the Torah begins to explain and really unpack the specifics of how to do a korban, who it goes to, how is it burned on the altar, etc., etc. And what's interesting is, when we actually look at the Pesach Seder, we have the four questions, or the four sons of what they ask. The wise son says, what are all these laws and expectations, chukim u'mishpatim, to us? What are all this to us? And his question is actually very specific. There's a yearning of wanting to know the exact performance, the exact breakdown of how to do that mitzvah. Contrary to the wicked son. The wicked son asks, what are all these things to you? Excluding himself from the conversation. Not wanting to actually understand, but is like trying to really goad and really point the finger or unravel or pick at this very issue. Why do you do all this stuff? Why does it matter to you? And herein lies the difference of the answer of how we respond to these kinds of questions. When there's a genuine sense of wanting to learn, a genuine sense of intellectual education and capacity to yearn, right? That's when we really unpack these specifics. But when someone is kind of on the outside, pushing our buttons, goading us on, really attacking us for the very reason why we're doing it, they're not looking to learn. They're looking to cause a fight. They're coming out with emotion. And we have to disengage from that emotion. How can we quench that fire? How can we squash that rage, that frustration that we're coming at us with? And with that, it's very interesting to understand how these parshios connect with Pesach as we get close to and we hone in on the mitzvah of V'higarat levincha b'yomahu. On that very day, find the way to teach it to your children. When matzah and mortar are in front of us, it's an experience. It's a whole education experience, much different than the usual 365 days of the year. Shabbat Shalom, till next time.